current. The tide is now flowing in the opposite direction. How much of a difference might that make? In theory, it means it will be easier to get up on the foils as they head down into turn one. And we are away now for the all-important race-off here in Lagos, Nigeria for the first time. The top three will join Brady and Brazil in the final later this afternoon. And to the delight of Didier Drogba, who's watching on from the sidelines, his Racebird is leading. Blue Rising are in second position. Slotting into third is Rafa with a replacement boat after their incident of Monte Carlo last time out. Aoki are fourth. They don't seem to be getting the best of fortune on the starts here in Nigeria so far this weekend, with Nerea Marti for AlUla. There she is on the right-hand side of your screen, but we're on board with Blue Rising, side by side with Drogba and Shelley. It's a nice clean start halfway around the first of 6 laps.
Yes, and from this angle it looks like Team Blue Rising have taken the lead on Drogba for a moment there, but no, Drogba's back again.
Chopping and changing constantly as we look from Drogba's right flank across to their closest rivals. How could he possibly see where you're going? I've said that before and I'll say it again, but a good recovery lap so far then for Drogba. Excellent recovery lap, in fact, as Micah Wilkinson, the Olympian sailing bronze medalist of 2024, gets up into the lead of the race. And now, as we get through towards the second of the 6 laps, this is their first opportunity to take either the short or the long route. And this is where tactics and team communication really comes into play.
Yes, is Drogba going to do the short lap? As we've seen so many times before, when you're in the lead, you want to extend that lead and get out in front. And will John Peters follow him? Oh, we were really losing the balance there. That will have scrubbed so much speed off for Drogba, and Team Blue Rising right there on his tail. He is riding on the back of that boat and wanting to get in front of Micah.
We have 3 of the top 4 in the championship in this race. Rafa, Aoki and TBR there in second place, Team Blue Rising. Only 3 in this race will go through to the final. This is critical for the outcome of E1 and the overall championship in 2025. There we go then with our first short lap, Shelley, and it is Drogba. Rafa are following suit. Let's see what Blue Rising do. On the far left of your screen, it looks like they're going for the long lap. They certainly are. So different strategies coming into play already.
Yeah, that's an interesting one with Team Blue Rising going straight out onto their long lap. That could be a good move. It'll be interesting to see what the computer works out halfway through the race, if that's going to help them or not. So yes, it's going to put Team Blue Rising at the back of the field, or no, well, 4th place, but a lot more still to play with. That could be quite a good strategy.
These are the average times, how much you will lose for doing a long lap or gain for a short lap, based on what we've seen so far. The results predictor, I wouldn't want to be the results predictor, because look how things are changing before our very eyes as AlUla loses a spot there to Drogba. So you can keep tabs on who's done what at the start of, at the top rather, of your screen. AlUla actually are going a lap down already, and they haven't even done the long lap yet. So that's just Nerea Marti getting used to E1. Excuse the pun, but very much thrown in at the deep end. The Spanish racing driver who is subbing this weekend for Katie Munnings, who's busy with Extreme E/Extreme H duties over in Saudi Arabia. Drogba with the advantage, and they've done a short lap already. We look down from our virtual tracker. Rafa are second, ditto for them. They each have a long lap still to go. AlUla third on the water, but out of contention, they're a lap down. So Aoki are third. They haven't done a short or long lap, and it remains that way as Meshael Alabadan goes through the usual race lap. Blue Rising, they're looking strong to at least jump Aoki, because JP, John Peters, the American, has already done his long lap. Here they come to put a lap on AlUla. So I'm going to keep a close eye on the timing screen, Shelley, to see what happens as we pass the Black Diamond Hotel. There's a great crowd as well watching on here. The turnout we've seen just off the Gulf of Guinea here in the lower part of the North Atlantic has been incredible. Depending on where you look for the information, there's anything between 21 and 24 million people living here in Lagos, the most populous part of Africa without doubt, well over double the population of London. Looking back again at AlUla, obviously off the pace. I think it's a combination, without being too hard on Nerea, that she's obviously learning, but perhaps a problem at the same time. But how is Peters getting on? Okay, he's done his long lap, so he should be able to jump, I think, at least Aoki. As Rafa then now at the bottom of your screen come through for their long lap. So this guess, I guess now, Shelley, with Micah Wilkinson leading for Drogba in front of Didier Drogba himself here in Nigeria, this is where they really need to get the hammer down now, because Micah still needs to do his long lap. Aoki moving ahead, but only temporarily, of Rafa, because they still have their long lap to go.
Michelle has just done her short lap, so that's pushed her up as well. So that was good.
And on board with her now as we come down towards the left-hand of turn one. There you can see Drogba there off to your left-hand side, leading. John Peter still has a short lap to do, so that's going to be very interesting indeed. He may well jump Rafa, and this is going to be so important, isn't it, for three of the teams who are in the top four of the championship. Only three from this race will move through to the final, for which Brady and Brazil have already qualified. And incidentally, if you are just joining us, it's been a dramatic weekend. Brady, as we talked to you, have the fastest lap of the weekend, which provisionally puts them equal at the top of the championship with Rafa. It is changing almost by the lap. We are back with Drogba, Micah Wilkinson from New Zealand, and he's coming around the standard lap again. So we're now coming into the sixth and final lap, Shelley, so he'll have to take the long lap on the very last run.
Yeah, which not sure that would be a great move.
Oh, and look at Blue Rising and Aoki absolutely locked together. Sorry for shouting in your ears there, Shelley, but Blue Rising on the left, Aoki closest to the cameras. We look down from the hotel, and this is all for position on the water, but that pink and blue boat there still needs to do the long lap. So clearly now, as you can see, John Peters is up to second. So the question is, he's 6.5 seconds behind Wilkinson for Drogba, but Drogba still need to do their long lap. So I think John Peters might be in a good position to actually come through and win this race off. What do you reckon?
Well, yes, but I was confused then because somebody said, I thought it was to Michelle, standard lap, but she can't. She has to do her long lap. I hope I misheard that.
Well, I hope you did as well, because they did have some communication issues, didn't they, yesterday? And we heard Michael on the team radio for the live YouTube stream getting quite frustrated with the team. So now you'll see the yellow flashes of Drogba going around the long lap, and it's going to be an easy lead. JP has done it again as we ride with Rafa. Let's hope that Aoki do take the long lap. Yep, Mashael has got the clear communication, so that's good. So Rafa's now coming through. That's going to be close with Rafa and Drogba. But John Peters is absolutely delighted as he comes through, having taken the lead right in the last knockings of the race off. Drogba will just get second, but Drogba and Rafa will be in the final, and it means Aoki will not be in the final. And that is critical for the team who are third in the championship and only 11 points behind John Peters. I know he's loving the surroundings of Nigeria. I was chatting with him last night. Let's chat with him again. JP, well done. That is absolutely incredible. I know you're already enjoying Lagos, as you were telling me last night. I bet you're enjoying it even more now, aren't you?
You know, it's pretty obvious. Winning always puts a smile on your face, but when you need to go and do it, you got to get serious, down and gritty. So, yeah, Lagos is a little bit more enjoyable, but we still got 2 more heats to make this happen. Over.
JP, Shelley here. Whose decision was it then to do the long lap right at the beginning of the race there? Because that was a great strategy.
Every major decision we do goes off rock, paper, scissors. So it was rock for short, paper for regular, and scissors for long. So we do that in the TOC. We have no real strategy. It's just kind of go what you go for.
Okay, thank you very much. I was thinking it was something technical, and it obviously was. Rock, paper, scissors. He's certainly got one of the best sense of humours, hasn't he, here in E1. As they come in again, they really are riding the crest of a wave, aren't they, at the moment? Don't slip off the boat, guys, because it's tricky conditions as it is. Don't want to be falling into the lagoon here at Lagos. They're now getting the pilot out, and that means, of course, they're in the final. So they'll switch around, won't they, now? Because they alternate, don't they, Shelley, as the races go on. And it does mean, then, that John will now switch with Sarah Mizir. She'll go into final 1, which will determine their lane position for final 2, and it means that John will be back in the boat later on for the all-important big final when the points are given out.
And of course, due to all the weather conditions and changes, it was a UIM rule change that allowed them to change the pilots.
So Peters and Blue Rising win the race off. They, with Drogba and Rafa, are through to the final, and it's damage limitation for the likes of AlUla, but particularly Aoki Racing, because their championship situation is going to suffer badly as a result of their non-appearance in the final here, just like Laga Maggiore all over again. Okay, Shell, let's look back at some of the key moments from that race-off. So tight, wasn't it, at the start? And we've seen a real difference in tactics and the boost. It's affecting people more than ever with this long drag of well over 600 metres down into turn 1.
Yeah, and as you can see, we are foil to foil here. Team Blue Rising dropped back, but I have to say, the true moment of this whole race was the strategy for Team Blue Rising. It wasn't rock, scissors, paper. That's been well thought out.
Are you sure? I mean, he said it was. But yeah, I think it's fair to say, take that one with a pinch of salt wherever Peters is involved. That's Drogba closest to us. And don't forget, as we said before, Didier is watching on the great vantage point from up at the top of the hotel here in Lagos. That's that moment we saw at the time. We saw the race birds moving around a lot, didn't we, under the pilots, but that was a bit of a scare. Look how close it was here at this point between Aoki closest to us and Blue Rising, with the gold top to their racebird in the background. Danny Kloss watching on, and head in his hands again for the Catalan pilot from Barcelona. He absolutely flung with real emotion his gloves onto the floor after his race earlier on. They're not in the final. Okay, Saunders, to you.
Mike, job done into the final, but there was a lot of action in that race and pretty neck and neck at the end for P2 and 3.
Absolutely stoked for this team to make a final. You know, we've had a few rough races, and we're through to the big dance. We're through to where it matters, so super excited. The race itself had a cracking start, and then I could just feel, we had a few issues with the boat yesterday with the trim stuff, and it's better today, but we're still having a few little niggles, so I really struggled, had a few moments, but just stoked. We're in the final.
Let's talk about the final when it comes to strategy, because you led for a lot of that race, but it didn't end that way. How are you going to rectify that for the final and make sure you get the win?
Yeah, not sure on strat. I have to leave that to the brains upstairs. For me, I just didn't quite have the pace. I didn't quite have the feel in the boat. So we'll chat through that, and then hopefully, come final 2 when it matters, we can light it up.
Give us a sense of what it feels like to find this performance here in front of, the boss, Didier here.
Oh, super proud to represent Team Drogba Global Africa, Gabriel, Didier, all our supporters. This is a home race, and we have so much support. Everyone's fantastic, and it gives so much energy. You can see I'm quite excited.
Absolutely. We're looking forward to seeing what you can do in the final as a team. Thanks.
Thanks very much. Cheers.
Oh, so nice to see Micah with a smile on his face. They are driving so well, aren't they, at Drogba? Maybe the presence of the big man himself is helping Oban Duncan, the 19-year-old, and Michael Wilkinson, the 29-year-old. There they are going into their deep